We've ran 9 races in the Spark Pocket Crew Chief Winter Series, and it all comes to an end here tonight at Atlanta. We've got an intense fight for the championship, and this version of Atlanta is legendary for its title drama. You'll get to watch it all play out live here tonight on V-Speed. Welcome inside the booth. I am your host tonight, Sky Shrek, and I'm joined up here by Logan Threlkeld with Eddie Smith on production. It's all come down to this. After 9 races, we finally made it to Atlanta. So let's meet our venue for tonight's title fight. Atlanta Motor Speedway, located just outside of Atlanta, Georgia, 1.5 miles in length. We're running on the old layout tonight, so it's not going to race like a plate track. This is how it was for years. It's bumpy, tires are going to wear, the track is hot, and that is going to provide all sorts of excitement here tonight on the 24 degrees of banking in these corners. We're going to give you a look at the points here in just a second as we head into our championship race tonight. Jacob Bradley has been on a tear recently. He won last week in Vegas, and he won 3 of the last 4 races at Charlotte and Sebring as well, and that has put him into the championship fight with a lead. The only driver really looking close is Braxton DeWeese in second. Only 1 win this season at Darlington, but we know he's been in the fight every week. You can never count him out. Chris Smith has had a great late season charge to put himself in third. He's still in with a shot, but it would take a lot for him to get that trophy. And drivers who maybe don't have a shot tonight, Levi Cox had some bad luck in recent weeks. Won Iowa and Auto Club this year, but is sitting back in 4th. Johnny Rapp 5th, Dylan LeBeau, Homestead winner in 6th, our Daytona champion Justin Wilson in 7th, and then running your field down from there, it's James Danforth, Chase Berry, who won Talladega in 9th, Evan Pienta, Jake Mackey, and Rye Jones. Rounding out your top 12 here tonight, coming down to the end of the season. There's still a ton to play for all throughout the field, and even the drivers not in this top 12, guys, further back in the standings are going to be looking to move up. We'll give you a quick look at how we got here, how these drivers made it to this championship race. We started at Daytona, moved into Homestead and Iowa. Bit of an off week before we came right back with Auto Club and Darlington, Sebring, Charlotte, Talladega, Vegas, and now here at Atlanta. It's the 5th mile-and-a-half track we're running this season, but I think because of the fact we're running the old bumpy layout, the fact that this track is going to have a lot of tire wear here tonight, and the fact that the track temperature is looking well above 110 degrees at the current moment, this is going to be one that these drivers are going to really be challenged by that track temp. Right now in qualifying at 117, which is also the number of laps we have tonight. A little bit of a coincidence there. These drivers are wrapping up qualifying. It's Levi Cox right now on the top of the board, but we'll get that to you once we finalize all the results here in just a couple seconds. All right, and as qualifying comes to a close, we'll be able to get those results here for you shortly for your grid. Tonight we have in the field 28 drivers, and on pole with the Evan Pienta Designs Pole Award is Levi Cox in the 54, trying to jump himself up into the top 3. Jacob Bradley, looking to hold on to that championship, rolls off in 2nd. Chris Smith will take the green flag in 3rd tonight. Johnny Rapp in 4th in the 52. Dylan LeBeau in the 26, in 5th. Braxton DeWeese in the 15, in 6th. Back from there, Ryan Phillips is going to roll off 7th. Rye Jones, 8th. Justin Wilson, 9th. And Jake Mackey rounds out your top 10. Going further down from there, James Danforth starts 11th. Robert Brobst in P12. Evan Pienta, your pole sponsor, is going to roll off 13th. Cam Gillens in P14. Steve Vest rounds out your top 15 tonight. Laura Wiseman on his outside in P16. Rob Liedl, 17th in the 80. Nathan Gentry, 18th in the 4. Sean Mulholland, 19th in the 39. Ellis Thomas, last car in the top 20 in 8th. None of the rest of these guys took qualifying times, but they're all still ready to go tonight. Scotty Sobzak in the 81, 21st. Chris French in the 53, 22nd. Max Koss has been up there a couple times recently. Rolls off in the 63 and 23rd. Peter Stewart in the 9 and 24th. Brian Brobst, 25th in the 11. David Hill, 26th in the 43. And the last two cars on your field tonight are going to be Zachary Mitchell in the 23 and Paul Thomas in the 42. That is your 28-car grid for tonight, and as these drivers finish up the warm-up, we're going to send it down for the national anthem here in just a second. All right, we're not going to do that, but we are going to get you ready here to go in just a second. Warm-up is coming to a close. 2.5 minutes left to go in this warm-up session. Right now, as we said, Levi Cox was the fastest driver in your qualifying session, so he'll be looking to make some good laps here, warm it up before the race starts. He's running right up around the top right now, which is one thing I'm noticing on his lap. A lot of different lines you can run here. You can go a little lower, you can go a little higher. Levi Cox running the top there. Johnny Rapp also making some warm-up laps out here. A lot of cars on track getting ready to go. Jacob Bradley starting in second place. Just running a little bit lower on the track. You see him cutting down to the inside line. There's a lot of different places you can go, and these drivers are going to try all of them here in this warm-up session. Last chance to try to get used to that track temperature, which is up at 119 degrees now. It's going to really be something for these drivers. I'm just kind of looking through the field here. Generally, there's a pretty good mix of lines that are being ran. You've got cars like Dylan LeBeau, who are choosing to run it right up on the top. A couple of the cars like Chris Smith also up there. Levi Cox kind of in the middle. Brian Brobst working it right there. You see him on the bottom going around James Danforth. Huge pile up in the middle of the front straightaway. Oh my goodness on that one. Ryan Phillips just did about a double barrel roll there in the warm-up. James Danforth in the 88 is running on the top there on the outside line. Yeah, let's get a replay on that. Why not? I'll show you what happened here in the warm-up session. Rob Liedl in the 80 comes back up across the racetrack. Nails that 27 car, Ryan Phillips. And then he's going to get flipped here because somebody else is going to come torpedoing into frame like he's the New York Yankees. There's one. Second round coming right here. There you go. The 11 car of Brian Brobst going straight into the side of that 27 machine. Oh, and there's Chris Smith for good measure. Warm-up just now coming to an end here. And with that, we're going to get ready to go for your season finale here in the Spark Racing League. We went through the grid already, but these drivers are getting set. They're getting ready. They're excited, especially these drivers who are up here trying to get the win. They're really going to be going for it. I expect to see Jacob Bradley, Levi Cox work really hard to try to get this lead early. Braxton DeWeese starting back in 6th. He's coming into this race second. He needs to be up on that front row. He needs to be up fighting for the win of this race. And if he wants to have really any shot at winning a championship here tonight, so expect that 15 car to make some moves early, especially with some cars like Johnny Rapp, Dylan LeBeau out of the title fight sitting ahead of him. Chris Smith still in the mix. If a bad race happens for Jacob Bradley, I expect to see him going all out at the start too. Levi Cox going to try to win his 3rd race this season. We've seen him be really good on these 1.5 mile tracks. He's really good everywhere. He had a dominating run at Iowa earlier this season, but I think he's got another chance to get that win here. Speaking of previous 1.5 mile tracks on this schedule, it's been pretty varied. Jacob Bradley won 2. Braxton DeWeese, Dylan LeBeau, each won 1 each. All of those drivers starting in your top 6 tonight, with LeBeau in 5th, Deweese in 6th, Levi Cox, Jacob Bradley up there on the front row. So those are going to be 2 cars to watch out for. Looking a little further back as the cars get ready to go here, there's some names kind of towards the back of the grid that I'm looking at that I think have a chance tonight. Looking back at Rob Lidl, we've seen him further up the field than 17th this season. Max Kost fought for the win a couple times this year. He's played some really good strategies. He's rolling off back in 23rd. We've seen Laura Wiseman with some really good runs. She's starting out back in 16th tonight. A lot of drivers who I think are going to be able to drive through the field, maybe make some problems for those drivers who are trying to lock down the championship tonight. We're going to do 2 laps here before the green flag. The pace car is going to go one more time around before we let these drivers off. Race analysis tonight. Your race will be 117 laps here at Atlanta. Pit road speed 50 miles an hour here, as it is at many of these mile-and-a-half tracks. 3 tire sets available. You can only change them twice, which is going to be a major story of this race, because if a caution comes out, you're going to want to come down and get tires. With how hot the track is, with how fast this track wears your tires up, with how bumpy it is, you want as fresh tires as you can get, but you can only have them 2 additional times this race. We've got 1 green-white checkered attempt if we need it, although we haven't had to use it much this season. 85% fuel load to get a little extra pit stops in there. And fixed setup, as always, here in the Pocket Crew Chief Winter Series. Lights on the pace car are out, and we're getting ready to go here. Once again, I'll give you a little bit of a rundown of your top 10. It's Levi Cox, Jacob Bradley on the front row, and they were way faster than anybody else in quali. You got to go a whole 10th back from those cars to find Chris Smith in 3rd and Johnny Rapp in 4th, and it's a lot tighter from there on back. Dylan LeBeau, Braxton Deweese almost running the exact same lap times. Ryan Phillips, Rye Jones, both running pretty quick, 7th and 8th. Justin Wilson, Jake Mackey round out your top 10. The pace car is getting ready to come down pit road. Your championship drivers are ready. And as the pace car makes the left turn down pit road, we are green for the season finale here in Atlanta, and we're already spinning out in the back. Caution has flown. Paul Thomas, Nathan Gentry, Sean Mulholland, 3 of a few cars getting turned around there before they even got to the start-finish line, really. And we are going to need a replay to see how that happened. Those cars did not even take the green, and they were already backwards on the straightaway. So here we go. This is coming to the green flag. Oh! Sean Mulholland there in the 39 just kind of got it turned to the right. I'm not sure if he spun the tires on that or what happened there. It looks like he spun the tires. Look at an in-car view here from Sean Mulholland, who rolled off in 13th tonight. Oh, he just spun the tires. He wasn't even the only car. Someone else was in the outside wall out there. He must have started on the top, got it loose too. That is how it goes at Atlanta. It's a track that eats up tires. It's a hot racetrack. Temps 121 degrees right now. And sometimes when you're going on these restarts, you might expect to jump like you do at every other track, and it just doesn't go for you. He was not the only car in the wall right there. Looking a little further back, Cam Gillens did basically the exact same thing that Mulholland did, except Gillens was on the outside, so instead of hitting another car, he only hit the wall. And it ended up kind of working out for him because he ended up staying out of that mess that happened right behind him. So the field's going to get stacked back up here. No one's going to come down pit road other than the cars who took that damage repair. That would be Chris French, who made the move down, Brian Brobst, Steve Vest, Ellis Thomas all in the pits. Trying to get a little bit of damage fixed there early. No fast repairs in this series, so if you do get in an accident like that before you even hit the start-finish line, it can be very dangerous. And there's another car that has hit the wall under caution. Not entirely sure what happened there. That would be Nathan Gentry in the 4, I believe. Ooh. That's another tire heating issue. Nathan Gentry in the 4 was running around under yellow. He caught up to the cars in front of him here. He slams on the brakes and just locks it up straight into that outside wall. So that's 3 cars that have already had some pretty serious traction issues. And we have not ran more than about 50 feet under green. And some of the cars having serious traction issues did not run under green before it happened. So it is going to be an adventure tonight for a lot of these guys. Our championship favorites are going to have to keep it really tidy around here, because it is going to be sketchy, to say the least, on these tires. Going to take lap 5 at the line, but we'll treat it like it's lap 1, because that is what it essentially is for these drivers. A little bit internet issues back there. I believe that is the 27 Orion Phillips, but he's got them sorted out for now. No problems for that 27 car at the current moment. Cars lining up on the inside back there, who you saw take that damage repair. The only car a lap down is Ellis Thomas. He took about 1.5 minutes of repair. He's gone a lap down. If we get another quick caution, he'll be the lucky dog. He'll be right back on the lead lap. Let's try it again. Pace car is going to pull into pit road. We're starting on lap 5. We'll see if we can make it a lap green. Green flag back out in the championship race at Atlanta. Jacob Bradley leads lap 1, but it's a tight battle behind him. We told you Braxton Deweese was going to be on the attack early, and here he is. Started 6th up to 3rd. Trying to rein around the outside or around the inside of Johnny Rapp in P2. Not able to get it done. Rapp holds that spot in the 52. Deweese will have to retreat to 3rd. Johnny Rapp hasn't won a race this season. He's not one of your cars who's in that big title fight, but he is certainly trying to get it done right now. See if he can win his first race of the season. Braxton Deweese, one of the cars who is in that title fight, runs back in 3rd. The other one, Chris Smith, back in 5th. But for now, it's your points leader by 13 coming into this race, running it out front. Jacob Bradley, great start to take that lead of the race. Not a great start for Levi Cox, who fell from 1st to 4th in the early stages, now under threat from Chris Smith behind. We're single file through a lot of the field right now as these drivers, especially at the front of the field, are wanting to be cautious of their tires. This track is super hot, it's super slick, and it's super bumpy, and we've already got a couple cars having problems at the back. This is a track where you need to be careful or else it could all go horribly wrong for you in a quick instant. So easy, especially as the tires wear, to just kind of snap loose out of the corner, have it go around on you. A lot of cars staying low right now, running those easy lines on the tires, making sure they don't do anything bad to burn them up for later. You can see how cautious Rob Liedl is being from the in-car here. He's really not turning that wheel too hard. He's being gentle with it. Doesn't want to try to really pull it one way or the other, because if he does, that's how you induce a spin in these cars. And with the track so slick, it is very, very easy to do here. A couple cars banging off the wall in front of him. That's Robert Brobst in the 5 car up there having some problems, along with Ryan Phillips in the 27. Track just keeps getting hotter. 123 degrees is the track temp right now as we take lap 10. It is warm, it is toasty, and that is going to make these tires even more toasty than they normally are. So easy to overheat those tires in a race like this and have it all go wrong for you. So especially if you're one of these drivers who's side-by-side racing in a tight battle at the back, you got to be careful not to overextend it, or else you could end up in some very serious trouble with your tire wear. Rob Lidl continuing to try to make up some spots in that 80 car. He's jumped it up ahead of Laura Wiseman in the 84, trying to gain time. Another car that's trying to gain time back in that area is the 43 of David Hill. Started out back in 16th. He's running side by side with Laura Wiseman. He's running 15th. He started out back in 26th, so he's plus 11. Rob Lidl in the wall in front of him might give him a little bit of a chance to gain time, but right now, very much your biggest mover. Stayed out of that early race accident, taking advantage from it. Only one car up there is really running that wall line, and that's Ryan Phillips in the 27. And it's an interesting strategy, mostly because it hasn't really worked for him at all. He's gone from 7th back to 12th, and he's mostly hung it right around that wall. So, still trying to make it work for now. We'll see how it goes. Rob Lidl's trying to cut up the inside of him. That would be another car getting around. I would say he's saving tires, losing 5 spots, but the tire-saving line here tends to be the inside. So unless he's got something that we don't know about on that top, it's not going to go too well for him. He's already down 6 spots, and David Hill, looking to go plus 13, is quickly stalking behind. Still side-by-side. This is about the only side-by-side battle in the field here. More internet issues for Ryan Phillips. We saw a couple of those before the green. He's made it work so far in the early stages of this race, but it might be something to keep an eye out on if those get any worse. He's still running on the outside of Rob Lidl, and I think that 80 car is finally going to be able to clear him here like he's been trying to do for about 5 laps or so. We'll see how it ends up shaking out in this battle. They're trying to go side by side to get a little further up the track. That is Rye Jones. He's working on the outside of Levi Cox, who is absolutely in full save mode. He's gone back about 5 spots since starting on the pole at the beginning of this race, and he's just holding off Rye Jones for now as that 91 car tries to work the top, but he is still falling back, and now Rye Jones is going to look to the inside of that 54 car, run him up the road a little bit, see if he can get that spot. Levi Cox is going to kind of hold him down a little bit off that corner. That'll keep him single file for now, and it'll give him the advantage over Rye Jones again. That 91 has been pushing and pushing, but he hasn't been able to make the move yet. And as this battle rages, up comes Justin Wilson in the 58. He's going to get around Rye Jones there. He's now going to set his sights on that 54 Levi Cox to see if he can do anything there. Evan Pienta also rolling quickly through the field in that 55. Evan Pienta designs car up around Jake Mackey in the 13 machine. He will enter the top 9 with that Mackey falling back to 10th. And now behind them, Robert Brobst is going to look to try to get into the top 10 there. He's running 11th. Stick it down to the inside. Cars migrating a little further up the track here. You're seeing a little bit more of the middle on entry. 13 car Mackey running all the way up there high still. Wide variety of lines early on in this race. And as we keep going, the line choice is just kind of getting more and more apparent. We went from everybody sticking it right on the bottom to we got cars on the bottom, we got cars on the middle, we got guys riding the wall. Really different strategies here, only 17 laps into this race, and we might be going three wide. Rob Lidl thought about it for a half second there, decided to back down, didn't want to try to force it down the outside of the straightaway. But he is looking up the middle as Brobst has prevailed over Ryan Phillips, who is still fighting back on the outside there in that 27 car. I feel like he's been in the wall about 6 times this race. Almost hit it again there on corner entry, and he's still holding that car off on the bottom.
By the end of this race, Sky, that 27 might not have any graphics on the outside of that race car, but it's been a great race so far. It's boiling down to be a really good one. Just getting into about 20 laps to go here. I've been keeping up with it, Sky. We dodged the tornadoes here. We're back in business. Let's get to the championship deciding race.
Good to hear. The only rotation you want tonight is the kind on the racetrack. Cars going around in a circle, hopefully faster than the tornadoes are. You never know at this point. Rob Liedl still rolling on the outside there. He's going to kind of get single file here, and we'll see what lane he chooses. If he decides to keep it down low or keep it up high, go down to the bottom, we'll find out. That's the 5-car, Robert Brobst, still trying to make this move on the 27. He's not been able to get it done, and he has been trying for a while to make this move. It's just not happening.
And it's going to just continue to be like that, especially if you can't get off the bottom line. It seems like you mentioned just a few moments ago, the driving line kind of migrating all over the place. It's going to come down to that tire wear. Old Atlanta is notorious for that. And it's going to be a strategy throughout this entire race on who can manage the tires the best. It's not only going to be a fuel strategy.
No, it isn't. This is absolutely going to come down to tire management. At a track that's this hot, the track temp right now, 124 degrees, you have to be saving these tires. It is the most important thing to get speed.
And Levi Cox with a move to the inside. Now the 26 of LeBeau on the outside, the 58 of Wilson. He's going to look to do the same here on the 28 of Chris Smith. Falls back a little bit out of corner exit. Now a big run for the inside for the 54. Sends it in deep into one. Completes that pass here. LeBeau's going to fall in line, but gets right back to the back bumper.
Levi Cox is one of those drivers who's really been saving the tires. He started on pole, fell back to 6th because he was just all in on tire savings, and it's all turned around for him now because he's got the advantage of fresher rubber than some of those cars in front of him, and he's really using it, trying to get himself up to the front of the field. He's kind of eliminated from winning the championship here. I think he's mathematically out with only 28 cars showing up to this race. I think he would have needed about a 35-car field to make anything happen. But he's still fighting out here, still going for it. Jacob Bradley, who entered this race as the points leader by 13, is doing exactly what he needs to do. He's looking to get his 4th win in the last 5 races tonight at Atlanta.
That 50 machine got hot right at the right time. If he can continue on through this race, it's really, he's got quite a few positions that he could fall behind to Deweese. Ultimately, as the points champion, you do want to take home that last win of the season just as some extra bragging rights, postseason and hanging out with everybody afterwards. But he has a lot of room to work with for that 50. He could fall back quite a ways if Deweese was to win this race. He still has a very, very strong possibility of coming home with the championship here tonight.
He does. Deweese was really on the attack early, moved it up from 6th to 3rd. He was challenging for 2nd, but couldn't get around Johnny Rapp, and he's been stuck behind him ever since. He's going to have another go at it here, running that high line. And Levi Cox, who really making those new tires work, has picked up 0.4 of a second, is going to try to go with him. And right now, with the lane choice opening up, Braxton Deweese will get him on the top.
It's exactly what you want to see from the top 2 on the points board. Our points leader sitting in 1st. The guy that wants it sitting in 2nd. You've even got Levi Cox in the equation, as you just mentioned, a little bit further back in the points equation. Unlikely to see the 54th the championship, but a win could still just, again, be a bragging rights type of situation. And Levi Cox to the inside now of Braxton Deweese. He's going to come out side by side. That top line's going to get the momentum. We'll see that 54 slide right back in behind the 15.
We will. Braxton Deweese is really closing that gap up to Jacob Bradley. But I have to imagine Jacob Bradley's probably saved a little bit too. He's been in cruise control, hasn't had to deal with any threats over the last 25 laps. We'll see if that stays true or if But we'll see if that stays true and if Deweese is able to stay behind him. And we'll see if he saved those tires while he was getting that big lead, or if the fresher rubber for Cox and Deweese is going to really give him an advantage here in the second half of this stint.
Look at this move here from the 54 of Cox all over the back bumper now. He's going to slide back just a touch. Didn't want to make that contact there and move the 15 up the racetrack by any means. But he's letting Deweese know he's right there, willing to take away that second place spot at any given moment that Braxton Deweese might make a mistake.
And now Levi Cox is going to look up to the top. He's ran it a couple times this race. He's going to try to use that momentum to get the run on Braxton Deweese down the back straightaway here. He's getting a little closer, but it doesn't work that time. And now Deweese is going to run the same line as him. A little bit of a block of the 54 car there. It'll take away his clean air, and it'll really hurt him. But even still, he's quick on the exit. The 54 making good use of his tires. He saved him really, really well here. And that's getting him closer to the 15, who, again, still inching closer to the 50 for the lead of this race.
They're both getting so close. We saw that gap here about 0.7 of a second, now within 0.4 of a second. You know, you have to think, even though Deweese and Cox are battling for position, they're making up quite a bit of ground here on Bradley. Is it the fuel-saving strategy? Is he saving tires for whenever these two catch up? Or is he running out of tires? Is he pushing it a little too hard?
That's what we're going to see. We know Jacob Bradley is good on these intermediate tracks. As we mentioned at the top, he won 2 of them. Sebring, or my bad, not Sebring. That's not a 1.5 mile track, but he did win Sebring. He won Charlotte and Vegas, the 2 most recent races at these 1.5 milers. So he's very clearly got the ability to get it done here, especially in recent weeks. He'd definitely be a favorite to do it again, especially from the lead.
It's been the bread and butter for the number 50 machine coming into the closing rounds of our Spark Pocket Crew Chief Winter Series. And he's showing no mercy here tonight, leading so far in this race. But look at that. Deweese just still closing that gap, now down to 0.2 of a second. He's got that extra help from the draft coming down the back stretch. It doesn't help a whole lot here, but it does help enough to close that gap up at a rather quick pace.
And the lap times for Deweese are just better right now than they are for Bradley. That time, it wasn't much. It was 0.02, but it's because he's really caught up to the bumper of that 50 car. He's going to get there pretty soon. We'll see if he's actually got the tire life to make a move on the 50, or if he kind of gets stalled out behind that car here. These top 3 have really managed to pull away. It's about a second gap there from Cox back to Johnny Rapp in 4th. This is a tight battle up front and a tight battle further back. There's a pretty big gap between these 2 packs, and the cars who have tires saved, like Justin Wilson, like Braxton Deweese, are taking advantage of it right now.
And you have to wonder, too, it's been a little while since Deweese has seen dirty air from the back end of Bradley. So how is this going to affect now that we are into some tire wearing situations? Now, obviously, not quite the same. Oh, and a big move to the inside here from the 58 of Wilson. He'll take over that number 4 spot from the 52 of Rapp. Will Dylan LeBeau have anything to say to try to follow up? Ooh, LeBeau loose off of turn number 4 there. Nothing doing, though. No time lost.
Yeah, there's a couple cars you can pinpoint in this field that really saved their tires. Braxton Deweese is one, Levi Cox as well. Justin Wilson was big on the tire saving, and that's come to help him in the second half of this stint. A little further back, Ryan Phillips in the 27 also heavily saved in the early part of this stint, and that's gotten him a little further up to 10th here. Some cars have Scotty Sobzak as well in the 81, but some cars have kind of done the opposite. Laura Wiseman used those tires up early, fell back a couple spots. There's also David Hill, who we saw battling for about 12th or 13th, who's gone back to 17th. And contact further up. That's Evan Pienta, who saved the tires and is trying to make some time getting into Chris Smith, who's struggling.
Got Chris Smith a little loose there. Luckily, Smith able to collect it back up and back up towards the front. Cox is side by side with Deweese going through 3 and 4. He's at the door, but Deweese with that high line, he'll get that momentum off the corner. Ooh, it looked like Cox was about to slide up and tag that left rear. Luckily kept it down just enough. He'll slide right back in behind the 15 here. Now, Cox is going to take the outside line. See if he can get that momentum coming down the backstretch this time.
Wouldn't be the first time he's made it work this race. He's been trying to do it for a little while now. He's got the momentum here, but it's really not enough. I think he needs to be a little closer exiting the corner for the 15. That, or he needs to force the 15 to make a mistake, scrape the wall there on entry, and that would give him the line. These cars are all so tight, but no one's actually able to make the move yet, and they keep pulling away from the cars behind him. Only Justin Wilson back there in fourth seems to be keeping any sort of pace to the top three, and now Braxton DeWeese is going to try for it. He's going to get down to the bottom, but that run is undefeatable on the top for Jacob Bradley. He'll stay clear on exit.
It's a good attempt there coming from the 15 machine. He's showing that he's got what it takes. He's right there knocking on the door. It's just going to be a matter of an opportunity for Braxton DeWeese to get around the 50. Levi Cox right there as well. If either one of these drivers make a mistake, he'll be able to capitalize and start getting away from the rest of the field. But for now, this battle in the top three, it is hot, it is fierce, and it is not going to go away anytime soon.
No, it is not. Especially because this is the battle for the championship here with Braxton DeWeese leaning up that inside line. He's been trying to do it for a while now, and Jacob Bradley is going to cut a little lower, try to run the middle. He's just going to keep cutting off Braxton DeWeese's exit. He's doing such a great job of defending, and it might open up DeWeese to Levi Cox behind. Now that 54 car's got the inside on both of these drivers. We'll see if DeWeese has to run down the back straightaway or if that 54 is able to hold on. It'll still be DeWeese coming down the backstretch. Still Bradley, DeWeese, and Cox. 1, 2, 3.
That drive off the top line is something fierce right now, but look at this. We've got some lap traffic potentially coming up soon, unless that's already passed. I think I'm incorrect on that.
Yeah, lap traffic, no one's been lapped yet aside from the cars who have kind of had some issues with damage. We had some very early accidents, and we have a car off in the grass as I say that. Nathan Gentry was one of the cars who got involved in an early accident, had a bit of contact, got majorly loose out of the corner. We'll get a quick replay of this here. He's running behind the 11 car of Brian Brobst. The Brian Brobst car is going to nail the wall. Gentry goes for a little bit of a ride. It's not the first time he's gone for a little bit of a ride tonight. He'll slip it through the grass into the pits.
Unfortunately, that will be a black flag for an illegal entry to the pits. However, he will be able to serve that, and if we see that yellow flag come out, that'll be an opportunity to gain that lap back if he goes down.
He will gain the lap back, but he's another 19 down, so that might give him a little bit of a problem here.
That could be a problem. Braxton DeWeese right now still holding on to that second spot. Levi Cox looking to do something here on the outside. Kept it high up on the wall all the way through 1 and 2. Now down the backstretch. Can't quite close that gap to the back bumper. He's going to stick to that high line, though, as well as the 50 of Bradley DeWeese. The only one right now running that bottom line right there on the apron. Saving the tires doing so, but losing a little bit of ground again to Bradley.
This battle has just been going for so long now. Levi Cox is going to try to make the move to the inside again. It's just not really going to happen here down the straightaway.
He can't quite get clear. And then if he does get clear, does he have enough room to perform the slide job without inhibiting the 15, causing a stack up? Potentially bringing out a yellow in that type of situation. Cox really needs to be selective on when he decides to make this move. He might just hang out here in third place until the pit cycle comes through. See if he can beat him on and off pit road.
And these guys have really gotten away. Justin Wilson looked like he was going to try to close in, and it's just not happened. He's still back there in fourth. And you've still got Chris Smith, Evan Pienta running back there 5th and 6th, who are right behind him. Wilson's just been trying to create separation. It hasn't happened. We're side by side again for the lead, but it's so hard to pass here right now. Levi Cox has gotten up the inside multiple times. That was maybe the best run he's had yet. but Braxton Deweese has been able to get that run out on the top every time. And 54 just can't get anything going. We're going to go single file again back out of 4 here.
Very hard to get a good run off the bottom of the corner while you're trying to, complete that pass. It's going to come down to a matter of good timing and really luck at this point so late in this run.
Absolutely. Tire wear is really a factor, and once you get these tires worn out, like these drivers, 45 laps on them doesn't sound like a lot, but here at Atlanta it is. And when these tires wear, I mean, just trying to make a pass can really wear them out. You've got to be so careful here. And this deep into the run, unless you've got a big advantage, it can be so difficult to get the move done.
And it's proving that exactly right now, as Cox still trying to make something happen off the bottom. He'll get a little bit more momentum coming off that bottom line as he was clear to the outside. He could move all the way up, but it looked like he got loose out of 2 there, came back down the track after he moved up to the wall on corner exit, and ultimately lost a little bit of ground there to the back bumper of the 15. But still right in that draft pocket. If he can continue to put together a good solid run just right where he's at, he'll close that gap once more. As he sends it deep into the corner on that one.
It's been really a great defense for Jacob Bradley, though, to be able to hold these cars off for as long as he has. It looked like they were going to get around him when they had a full head of steam on that kind of tire advantage, and it just hasn't happened. Levi Cox having some internet issues, not the first time tonight we've seen that from him. He'll try to run the top, and he just won't get the run he needs, and he'll clip the wall, which is going to drop him even further back.
It's not what you want, but it's what you're going to see here. The tire wear becoming a big factor. Evan Pienta now to the inside of Chris Smith. That's for the 5th position. Right behind the 58 of Justin Wilson. Look at the 07 here. Cam Gillen's taking the inside line on some fresh tires. He's going to walk right around him.
Yeah, he has made a pit stop there in that 07 car to get some fresh tires on it. He's not the only car that has done so. Both Robert and Brian Brobst both came down along with Laura Wiseman. Those were some of the cars who we noticed were kind of struggling the hardest, who had really pushed him in that first stint. If a caution comes out now, it'll be really bad, especially because a lot of those cars are 2 laps down. But if we stay green, might be a strategy that works out for them. That they're trying to do a little bit of a 2-stop here. Only time will tell if that's a good idea.
Still no movement being able to be made up here in the top 3. Bradley holding that lead. He's holding on to it for dear life right now. Braxton Deweese just wants to get ahead, get some clean air on the nose of the 15. Levi Cox would also be happy to see the front of this pack get out of that dirty air. This race car is going to drive entirely different, and that is what's benefiting the 50 of Bradley right now.
And as we approach kind of the halfway mark of this race, this is really when these tires are going to start to show their age. These drivers are slipping and sliding. The lap time fall off right now from the start of the race to now is 2 seconds. This is really when it becomes hard as a driver, and this is really when, if you're kind of in a battle, you might just go, all right, I'm not really going to be able to force my way around anyone on these tires without completely blowing the rubber off it. I'll take what I can get.
Absolutely is right now. Pienta looking to the outside now of Wilson. He's going to get the drive off the corner. LeBeau also looked to take the outside around the 58 machine. Doesn't quite get the same run as the 55, but he's going to stick it still right in that middle lane coming through 3 and 4. That's going to give him the good drive off as Wilson's now going to bring it down pit road. Locks him up just a touch there. Saw that rear end kind of stick out to the right. Justin Wilson makes it into the pits. And no black flag. He made it under speed.
And that is going to really
behind now.
Yeah, I was going to say that's really going to open the floodgates now. When you've got one of those cars that's out front in the lead coming down, everyone's going to really make that move down with him. Justin Wilson, just the first car to kind of make that move down pit road. And I think we're going to see a lot of cars follow him here soon. None of the leaders this time, but give it a few laps, I wouldn't be surprised.
Looks like we got a black flag now on the 80 machine. Rob Liedl picked up a speeding penalty on that pit road entrance. So we'll have to keep an eye on him. He'll be coming back down pit road to serve that penalty here within the next couple of laps. But up towards the front, Cam Gillens has inserted himself and exited the equation here between the leaders. But now we've got some other cars cycling out. We've got the 60 of Steve Vest now between our top two. As our number one spot, Bradley's going to bring it down pit road here. Does he make it under speed? It looks like Jacob Bradley's going to be good on that pit road entry. So our first leader coming down now. Braxton DeWeese, Levi Cox are going to stay out there. Cox now to the inside of DeWeese. Up at the front of this thing as Rob Liedl split the middle of the two. Levi Cox is going to assume the lead here. Braxton DeWeese slowing down. Looks like he's going to try to make his way to the bottom here and pull it down pit road this time by. Let's keep an eye on the 54 up ahead. Yes, Levi Cox also going to bring it down pit road. So all three of our leaders now within one lap of each other. Going to get some fresh tires and fresh Sunoco fuel.
Black flag speeding in the pits. It's going to be Paul Thomas in the 42. So he is still in the box right now, but he will have to do another drive around in that car. Dylan LeBeau now the first car out. Levi Cox has made the move down pit road, and so has actually every other car except for Dylan LeBeau in that 26. Running a bit of an overcut, but he'll get ready. He'll come down now. That'll be the 26 machine into pit road. And he will bring it in and get really loose. Big lockup. We'll see if he made speed.
It looks like he does. Should be good to go for that number 26 Wonder Bread machine. Looks like Rye Jones will assume the lead here momentarily once he gets back to the front stretch. He's got the 60 of Vest a lap or two down in front. Vest is going to move up to the high line. Ryan Jones, ooh, man, that gap is closing now for Jacob Bradley. He might not have a whole lot of time up here in the lead for that 91 machine. Jacob Bradley and looks like Justin Wilson both closing that gap rapidly. Coming down the back stretch. There's Ryan Jones, that 91, leading the pack here, but the 50 of Bradley is going to send it around the outside. He's already to that right rear quarter panel, door to door now on corner exit. Ryan Jones going to have to keep it low on the track. That's going to hand that lead back over to the 50 of Jacob Bradley. Justin Wilson will look to do the same here in 1 and 2 as Jones keeps it on the bottom one more time. Bradley now completely clear. Some lap traffic now going to be a factor here for the 50. We didn't see it a whole lot just a few laps ago, but got multiple cars right ahead. Cam Gillens on the outside. Laura Wiseman's going to be on the inside. Gillens keeping it high up on the racetrack, giving plenty of room for Jacob Bradley. Let's see how the 50 navigates the 84 now. Justin Wilson gets by the 07. Ryan Jones gets by the 07 now. Wiseman high up on the track through 1 and 2, leaving that bottom lane completely open for our leaders. Bradley doesn't quite get the run off the corner all the way up to the wall. Has to load up just a touch. That's going to allow the 58 now of Wilson to get back to the back bumper a little bit. But ultimately, it's that 50 machine getting that clean air once more. Should be able to get away pretty quickly here.
And an update on one of the leaders, Braxton DeWeese, ran out of fuel coming down pit road. He ran out of gas while making the turn down. He coasted down pit road going about 30, lost 10 seconds in the process. He's come out of the pits now in 14th place. So that is your championship contender, driver who came in second, and is going to have a massive, massive problem trying to claw his way back up there.
Talk about stretching that fuel cell all the way to the end. It did not pay off for the 15 machine here tonight. Now he's going to be looking for that yellow flag to come out, try to close that gap back up, get restacked here, and try to make that run back up to the front once more.
It's gonna probably take a caution. If we don't get a caution, that is the best thing that has ever happened to Jacob Bradley, because that car is now in great position. He came into this race 13 points ahead of DeWeese. DeWeese now outside the top 10. Bradley has led most of this race, and that has really allowed him to get away even if Justin Wilson manages to get the move here, pull a pass on him and try to steal the lead away as he's trying to do, Jacob Bradley still has a huge points advantage right now that's really going to help him.
Again, Bradley has a lot of room to play with on that points board. Pending any post-race penalties or anything like that, he could finish quite a few positions behind the 15, but you really want to end this season in, hopefully a championship season for the 50 machine on a good note, taking home the last win. That'd just be the icing on the cake right there, Sky. Justin Wilson now in the lead. He's going to get away from Bradley here. Looks like the 50 machine's going to go back to that fuel and tire saving strategy as he sees he has so much room between himself and the 15.
In that 58 car, he's on a couple lap older tires than most of these guys, and he also was one of the cars who started to fall off a lot towards the end of that stint. He had some life around that 30 to 35, kind of in the middle of the run, and then he must have used it all up then, because by the time the run ended and he came down pit road, he was going on fumes. So, I mean, really interesting to see how that 58 car saves now versus what he did in the first stint. It's going to be interesting to see how really what these drivers learn from that first stint and from how they use their tires in that first stint, and see if they can do it a little better this time.
We're over halfway through this race. It's now or never. If you're Braxton DeWeese, you have to push in this situation. You cannot bank on a caution coming out whatsoever, but he has a lot of cars to try to get through. He's closing in on the top 10 now, but still, he's going to be about 10 seconds back from our leaders.
Tight battle going further back as Braxton DeWeese has re-entered the top 10. He's really going to have to go for it here. There's really nothing else he can do but just go full throttle. He can't worry about tire saving. I mean, he's been gaining so much time on the leaders because he's very clearly not saving them at all. But when you're this far back, you need to just run as fast as you can and hope you get a caution at the right time, because without that caution coming to help him, he is in massive trouble.
You're absolutely correct. That's not how you want to do the last race of the season by any means. DeWeese is going to have to drive the wheels off of this thing. That Interstate Ford, it's going to be screaming hot by the time that we're done with this race with how hard DeWeese is going to be driving it.
Absolutely. I don't think you're going to have to wait to the end of the race. I think this thing's going to be screaming in about 5 laps here, with the track temperature still hot, 124 degrees. It does not take long for you to really burn up these tires here.
Unfortunately, his hand is forced at the moment when it comes to that. You cannot let up at all. This is going to be the absolute drive of a lifetime for Braxton DeWeese to make his way back up to the front of this pack. But if there's anybody in this field that can do it with the motivation that DeWeese has, it's going to be that 15 machine. So definitely keep an eye on him coming through this field to catch back up to Justin Wilson and Jacob Bradley.
And even if he does catch up to Wilson and Bradley, even if he wins this race, it's not going to be enough. He needs something bad to happen to that 50 car as well. The 50 car is going to get some pressure here, because here comes Levi Cox in the 54. He is going to be a problem for this 50. A little bit of a thorn in the side of his tire saving as he's going to try and move up the inside. It won't work, but that will get the 50 car high, and that seemingly will work. He's going to go side by side with the 58 of Justin Wilson. We're battling for the lead. All 3 cars running different lines trying to get it done.
Oh, big lift out of the 58. He started to slide up the racetrack towards the door of that 50 machine. Made the better call. Did not want to ruin Jacob Bradley's race. Bradley back into the lead now. Cox in second. Wilson falls back to third.
It can change that quickly here, especially when you really use up your tires. Wilson might have overheated him, going for that move, and suddenly he's gone right back to third. Levi Cox, like we said, he can't win the championship tonight, but he can absolutely be a problem, and he can absolutely win this race. Trying to do it right now as we're under 50 to go. That 54 car has a lot of speed in the early part of this run. We'll see if he can get it on the outside.
by Cox, looking to put pressure on the back of Bradley now. Make Bradley make that mistake to open up the door for the 54 to get on through. Justin Wilson falling back now over a half second. Near contact there between Bradley and Cox on the entrance of one. Luckily kept it off of each other. That was a whole lot closer than what you want to see if you're that 50 machine.
For sure, the absolute last thing Jacob Bradley wants is to get any sort of damage, to be involved in any sort of accident, because as long as he finishes really in the top 5 or 10 cars here, he's got the title locked up. He just needs to be steady and consistent, and contact that sends him into the wall is the exact opposite of that, and it's the very thing that could ruin his race. He's going to back off from that 54 car for now. He knows that he does not need to win this race to win the championship. He might lose this battle, but he'll still win the war, even if the 54 gets one tonight.
Back here towards the back, Braxton Deweese now under fire from the 26 of LeBeau. LeBeau on the inside. Deweese has made his way back up to 7th place, but you have to be concerned about those tires now on the 15. He's been cooking through the field as fast as he can. He's now down to a 9-second gap to our leaders. But that gap is not closing fast enough for Braxton Deweese right now.
No, it isn't, and the gap is really starting to open up a little bit because of how much that 15 car had to push his tires to even get to where he is right now. He was running some of the fastest laps of the race, just desperately trying to claw that gap back, and now it's starting to catch up to him as that 15 car is really losing time. He's still got Scotty Sobczak in front of him in 6th. That car is having some problems. It's slower than the rest of the cars around him because he made a very early pit stop, was one of the cars who did that undercut. But outside of Sobczak, he's slower than the top 3 right now. It's not been a great run for that 15 car now that those tires have started to burn themselves off.
And you have to be concerned, too, looking at the timing and scoring here. You know, you've got Sobczak right in front of you, about a half second up the road, but then it's a 6-second gap to the top 5. So even if Deweese does get in front of Sobczak, that's still going to be quite a distance there to cover and make up before he even has an opportunity. Inside 50 laps to go, that is a tall order no matter who the driver is.
And the laps are really starting to run down here at the front. If you're someone like Chris Smith, who came into this race with an outside shot at the title, but who was still mathematically eligible, you've really got to go for it here. You have nothing to lose. This is the time to put everything on the table. There's only under 40 to go here coming up soon in the season. You got to do something. You can't just run in 4th. Maybe an early pit strategy, maybe a late pit strategy, maybe you just try to fuel save and not pit entirely, but you got to do something on this next stop.
It's going to come down to timing. If we stay under green flag conditions, that 28 can come in, get some fresh tires before our leaders start making up that ground as soon as possible, you know, and hope that the leaders take a little bit longer to get into pit road. It'll give that the 28 a good chance of coming away with the win here tonight. Again, it's all going to be about timing. That's going to be strictly there under green flag conditions. Go ahead, Sky.
I was going to say, over a second from Levi Cox in the 54 to Jacob Bradley in the 50. Levi Cox has really, really opened that gap. He's having a great time. This is further back. Braxton Deweese is trying to get around Scotty Sobczak in the 81. LeBeau still holding pace with that 15 car.
Braxton Deweese down to the inside line. The 81 up high on the track. Dylan LeBeau still in tow. Now looks to the middle as that gap opens up. Deweese closes the door. Still kind of there. LeBeau backs out of it, thinks better of it. And this should give the 15 of Deweese a good run here on the bottom. Will he be able to slide up in front of the 81? No, that door closes quickly as Deweese gets loose off corner exit. And LeBeau looks to the outside now with a good run off of turn number 2. And he's going to drop right down in front of the 15. Deweese loses that spot back to 8th now.
Deweese has lost about a second here to those leaders over the last couple laps because he's really just started to use it up. And as he gets embroiled in this fight up here for about 6th and 7th. It's going to make him even slower because now he's got some dirty air stuck behind these cars of LeBeau and Sobzak. He doesn't really have anywhere to run. So he's lost his tire advantage. He's lost his clean air. He's just in a lot of trouble right now. I don't know what he's going to do, but he needs a caution. He needs a good pit stop. He needs something to go his way if he wants to have any shot at the championship, and he needs that and some misfortune to happen to the 50.
Of course, you don't want to wish that on anybody by any means. But Levi Cox with a commanding lead here. Jacob Bradley has a lot of air between himself and Levi. And then off the back bumper to the 58 of Wilson. There's a whole lot of room there for the 50 to just run a good race. Just be consistent to the end. Finish the race. You don't have to win by any means here in this situation. All you have to do is finish.
Yeah, and a win is always nice, but Jacob Bradley, he's got 3 of the last 4. He's led so many laps this race. After that near contact with Levi Cox, he kind of dropped off about a second. And if he just stays there, doesn't mess up, if we get another pit stop, doesn't mess up that next pit stop, and it'll be good. And contact with the 50 of Jacob Bradley. Rob Liedl, the lap car, straight into the side of him. He stays good. We keep it green. We'll see if that hurts that 50 car. Oh, my goodness.
There's got to be some damage on the right rear here, on the back here on the overcut instant replay. You see Liedl just trying to make the corner, running the normal line. Did not quite think that Jacob Bradley was going to send it in there as deep as he did. But Bradley got to the inside. Liedl never saw it coming. Continues on his line and just tags the 50 in the right rear. On board now with Rob Liedl here, coming down the backstretch. We'll see it on the entrance of 3. Loose out of turn 2 and gets into the wall himself, middle of the backstretch. Oh, he hit the wall coming into turn 3. That's what shot him down the track.
Ooh, that is such a scary moment for the 50 car. You've got this championship locked up as long as you finish top 10, and you're almost getting taken out by a lapper. That is so, so scary. And the 50 car, he might have some damage. Well, he certainly does have some damage on that thing, but as long as he's not terminally damaged, he's still out there. With Deweese in 8th right now, I think Bradley would have to finish like at least the lap down to not win this title. He's doing everything he needs to right now. Just keep it steady, keep it calm, don't lose your mind, and you'll still win this championship.
You have to wonder too now whenever it comes to making a pass, if Bradley does catch back up to Levi Cox and challenges for the lead of this race, is he going to be gun shy to try to make a move? That can change your entire attitude towards the race. If you have some sort of an incident, knowing what's on the line and knowing where you're currently standing against your direct opponent for the points champion, that could be detrimental to your decision making later on in this race.
Yeah, absolutely. This is so tough right now for the 50 of Jacob Bradley, because while he is dominating, while he does want to win the race, he kind of can't. He's 2.5 seconds back. He's got to just take what he's got, ride it out. After that Rob Liedl incident, I'm sure he's going to give every lap car he encounters about a football field's worth of space to make sure they don't get to try anything. He's still racing with Chris Smith here, and Chris Smith is mathematically eligible to win the championship, but he would need about 25 positions or so on Jacob Bradley. Giving him one spot won't hurt. He doesn't need to fight anybody that hard outside of maybe Braxton Deweese.
And Deweese now back up to the 7th position, but still 8 seconds back from Jacob Bradley as he's been just wrapped up in a battle here with LeBeau. LeBeau finally started to get away here. Deweese falling back to the clutches of Scotty Sopzik in that 81. But ultimately, no cars really around to force the 15 into anything that he doesn't want to be in. Now it's just got to be finding that consistent line, trying to keep the tires underneath it as long as you can, and seeing what you can do better on this pit cycle once it comes around.
It's a close battle, a couple close battles further back. Braxton Deweese starting to fall back closer to Scotty Sobzak in the 81. There's also Peter Stewart in the 9, Johnny Rapp in the 52. That one was a little closer, but Peter Stewart's trying to get the edge on that car again. Cars are starting to tighten up around the racetrack. No real side-by-side racing yet. Chris Smith still pulling it back to Jacob Bradley there. 30 to go in this race, and unless something goes wrong, it's looking like it'll be 30 to go for the championship for that 50 car.
Here comes another lap car for Jacob Bradley, and you can see all that room that he's giving him this time. He immediately got to the bottom as quickly as possible, staying away from that 5. Robert Brobst being extra careful as well, keeping it up there high on the track. But Chris Smith still looking to take advantage of the 50 machine now. We got a couple coming down. Justin Wilson brings it down pit road, as well as the 5 of Brobst. Got a new strategy on the board to pay attention to here, Sky.
We do. This is going to be the start of the second round of pit stops. These cars are going to be using their last set of tires this race. If you're still one of these cars like Ryan Jones is hanging out a little further back, you can see him struggling to warm the tires up here. You might as well just try something. Like, if you pit with everybody else and you're running kind of in that 5th, 6th area, you're not going to win this race. You got to try something. Do some kind of strategy to get it going here.
Ooh, and back here on the overcut instant replay, looked like the 91 of Ryan Jones had some issues here. On board now with Jones, coming out of turn number 4, gets loose on corner exit, gets it corrected, overcorrects a little bit, then the car just doesn't quite turn back down the track, tags the wall. I don't know what's going on there with the 91. He can't keep it straight right now. Maybe some steering damage that we have no idea, but sends it down to the apron out of the way of everybody, luckily. So no caution flag, but that was a little close for comfort.
I thought he pit. He came out of that, he came out under the pit exit cone, way off the pace. I just assumed he made a move down pit road.
That's what I was thinking too whenever I first saw him, but man, big time loose all across the front stretch, and finally gets it collected back up on the apron of turns 1 and 2. Back up towards the front here. There's that 50 machine, still keeping the 28 at bay. Running high up on the racetrack now. You have to question when Jacob Bradley will bring it down pit road. Is he going to try to extend this fuel run and make it as short as possible on the back end? You have to keep in mind a caution could ruin the 50s race if it was to come out after he pits. So that's another thing that you really have to take into factor whenever it comes down to when you bring your car down.
Yeah, if I'm the 50, I think I would try to run this a little longer just to avoid that possibility. You do not want to get trapped laps down for speeding if you can avoid it. You might lose a couple spots running a little longer, but you can afford to lose a couple spots when you've got a 13-point lead. You cannot afford to mess up the pit stop, and you cannot afford to lose a lap. I think you've just got to run the overcut. Be safe with it. You don't have to win the race. You don't even have to finish top 3. You just got to play it safe. Be calm. Don't mess it up, and you'll win the title.
27 of Ryan Phillips picks up a speeding penalty in pit road, so he's being held in his box currently. Looks like the 43 of David Hill also picks up a black flag on pit entry. So he'll be held up there, losing their spots towards the back of the field. Phillips, once he gets rolling, currently sitting in 27th. He'll be 2 laps down behind Laura Wiseman, Robert Brobst, but ahead of Rob Liedl momentarily. David Hill 1 lap down at threat of going 2 down. And it's a big battle up here. DeWeese just ahead of it, but we've got the 88 right here in the mix of it. James Danforth is looking to the inside of DeWeese. Doesn't quite get there. That was some tight running here. LeBeau's mixed up in the middle of it. The 91 of Ryan Jones. Got Peter Stewart in there as well. Looks like the 11 falls back through the middle. Jones sent it deep into the corner. LeBeau all over the back bumper now of Braxton DeWeese. DeWeese had to let up. LeBeau on those fresh tires. It's really showing there through the middle of the corner.
Yeah, that was a little sketchy for that 15 car, or that 26 car, especially had to let way out of the gas there to avoid getting caught up in an accident. But now he's got the pace advantage. He's just kind of in this pack of cars, and he just can't get around him. He's really, really trapped back here. He needs some clear air, and he'll go shooting around him like he does right here. But when you've got so many cars that tight, it can be really difficult to make these moves, and that can really hurt you because When you've got these fresh tires, you want to use them to their fullest, and he just can't do that right now.
All that action there was very reminiscent of the multi-class style race, the IMSA series, where you've got the faster cars being the ones on the newer tires, having to navigate through the slower class. And that was that can make for some challenging racing. Did a fantastic job of working their way through it there. Now the 60 of Steve Vest high up on the racetrack now. The 11 of Brian Brobst on the bottom here. The 81 now looking to take the inside as well. Scotty Zobzik. He's sitting in that 5th position here. Falls back to 6th now. Levi Cox brings it down pit road, so our leader now taking some fresh tires. Jacob Bradley will claim the lead once more. Surely will be looking to bring it down pit road pretty soon.
Yeah, with 20 to go here, I think we're definitely getting to the point where you could probably bring it down pit road, especially when you're the leader of the race. And if you probably lose a lap, but you wouldn't lose much more than a lap. It would be very not a lot of time lost there if he did go down a lap. So I think it's starting to get time for Jacob Bradley to make that move down pit road. Same with Chris Smith behind him in the 28. They've got an 11-second gap to Johnny Rapp, who's the next car who hasn't pit. And everybody's starting to come down now. Only 7 cars still in the lead lap.
We are within 20 to go now. So this could have been a situation here where the leaders, stay out a little bit too long. You're not going to quite get the full benefit of the tire run. But ultimately, Bradley has been so strong at these 1.5-mile racetracks here lately. He's got to have some sort of a strategy that's working for him. He's certainly sticking to it. There goes the 54 of Levi Cox, unlapping himself now. But he's got a whole racetrack to go around to catch back up to the 50. And after you see that, being the leader, I think this is the time that we'll see Jacob Bradley bring it down pit road.
Absolutely. With 18 to go, he's starting to get down there. I think one of the arguments you can make to running this longer is you just have to take less fuel to get yourself to the end of the race. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some cars out here try to go fuel only on the last stop to improve their position, even with how intense the tire wear here is. We're past lap 100. Jacob Bradley's doing everything right. He just needs to make it 17 more circuits, and he should be a champion.
Sky, you of all people should know this. What is my favorite saying whenever it comes to a race like this?
Never speak too soon. Something like that. Something along those lines.
No, consistency is key. That's what you have to be right now if you're Jacob Bradley. Absolutely consistent. It does not matter how fast you run as long as you run it consistently. As now Chris Smith is going to bring it down here. And he picks up a black flag on pit entry. So Chris Smith in the 28 will take himself out of the running for the lead. And he'll be held in his pit box for about 20 to 25 seconds or so, if I recall correctly.
And that will absolutely be the end of Chris Smith's hopes, not just for this race, but for the championship. Might open him up actually a little bit to a challenge for third. He came into this race about 10 points ahead of Levi Cox. That could put him a lap down. That could allow Levi Cox to jump up in the top 3 of points by the end of the night. Jacob Bradley, your championship leader right now, is going to make that move down pit road. Park it right up there in the second pit box. Johnny Rapp will come down with him. Not a lot of cars still out on the racetrack.
Not at all. And a good time for Jacob Bradley to bring it down. That's going to give him quite the advantage over the competitors that have already brought it down. They'll be anywhere from 5 laps on the tires to 10 laps on the tires already. And immediately bringing it back out on track. 14.2 seconds in the box. That will be 4 tires and fuel for the 50 machine.
And he'll come out towards the front of the race. He's not going to win the race or anything. He's still quite far back, but he's put himself in a great position to get a good result, to get a championship here tonight. He's done everything he needs to do, and right now he is hoping that this race goes green as long as possible, because if it does, he can just run nice, steady, consistent laps, and he'll be champion. Justin Wilson taking that kind of early pit stop strategy, looking like it's going to work out, maybe not for a win, but for a pretty good finish, because he's come out 10 seconds ahead of every car that is not named Levi Cox. 54's got a great chance to win this race. 58's got a great chance to take a podium.
Looking back here at the stats, Chris Smith in the box for 54.8 seconds. So that is a 40-second hold there after all of your service is complete for that black flag, speeding on pit entry. Luckily, most of these drivers completing their last pit cycle, except for Johnny Rapp. He'll still have to bring it down one more time. Looks like Ellis Thomas in the 8 machine, currently running 14th. He'll have to bring it down one more time. Everybody else, though, has already made their final pit stop of the race, and it is on till the end. We are coming around here. Next time by, Johnny Rapp will bring us to 12 to go, Sky.
Yeah, I think Johnny Rapp is likely just going to be on a strategy where he just pits fuel only at the end of this race. He was running kind of towards the back half of the top 10, wasn't really involved in the battle for the win. It also figures if that strategy gets him any spots, it'll probably still be worth it here in the long run.
Certainly could if he can make it stretch out another 12 laps, and maybe he can do it. Maybe he can finish out here with the podium. There is enough of a gap from 3rd to 4th. If he can hold it down, still come away with the 3rd place finish. But LeBeau in that 26, he'll be coming in hot for sure. Right now, Johnny Rapp on a 51-lap run. Those tires are going to be gone by the end of this race if they're not already.
For sure. Levi Cox has gotten around that 58 car, Justin Wilson, and he's looking like he's on cruise control right now. He's still got 4 seconds to Johnny Rapp, but that 52 car has not pit. He's 2 laps slower on those old tires. Won't be long before Levi Cox gets there, and that will be the lead of the race for the 54.
Don't look now, that number 50, Jacob Bradley, already into the 4th position here. And look at that gap on the ticker on the left side of your screen. It is closing probably about 2.5 seconds a lap here to our leader. And that's going to be about a second, 3/4 of a second to a second to our 2nd and 3rd place sitters, Levi Cox and Justin Wilson. We might see Jacob Bradley work his way back up here in the last 10 laps to challenge for the race win in the final race of the season, Sky.
He is going to try it. I think it's going to be a case of too little, too late. He is faster than the 54, but I just don't think he's fast enough. He's only got 5-lap fresher tires than Levi Cox. He would need something to really go right for him here as Johnny Rapp will finally make that move down pit road. Looking like he's going to put just fuel in it and come back out, but that will not bother our leaders. With under 10 laps to go, Levi Cox looking in position to not just win the race, but jump himself up to 3rd in the final championship standings. Justin Wilson looking to move himself up with a great race tonight in 2nd, but it's all about Jacob Bradley, your points leader, doing everything he needs to do in 3rd.
And staying well ahead of the number 15 car, his direct competitor for this points champion, came into this race separated by 13 points, and he is ahead of Braxton DeWeese now by 6 positions. If he finishes this race right where he's at, that is a championship deciding race.
It is, and with only about 8 laps to go now in the Spark Bracket Crew Chief Winter Series season, it's all going to come down to this. Levi Cox out front in this race just needs to run a few more consistent laps, and he'll have what he needs. After that early incident, we had a caution before we even took the green flag, and then we've gone basically green to checkered here. It's been a very clean race, and I think a lot of these drivers out front are really hoping we don't get a late caution because it has been such a good race, and these gaps that have opened up are so big that everyone's pretty secure in their position.
And that's pretty well how the season has gone. Minimal cautions all season long. Long green flag runs, multiple green flag pit stop cycles. This race being no different here tonight. What a season that we have seen, and what a way to cap it off here. As this time by, we've got 6 more laps before we see our top 3 and our points champion.
Time is running out for anybody to do anything here a little further back, but we got a couple battles that might try to develop here over the last few laps, just looking at tire wear. Scotty Sobzak's about 1.6 back of Rye Jones, and he's on 8-lap fresher tires, so I'm sure he is going to really be pushing to try to close that gap and get a spot in the top 5 here to end this race. A couple others further back, but that's going to be the real closest one right now. He was actually almost half a second quicker than Rye Jones that last time, so while he's working through lap traffic, he has the speed with 4 to go.
Keep an eye right here on the 81 of Sobzik, still looking to get around the 43. No gaps have quite opened yet. Closes up to the back bumper, loses a little bit of ground here as he lets off. Make sure he doesn't want to get into the back bumper of the 43 by any means. That could really just change the entire way this race ends out. Now gets to the inside, gets a clean run here, should get very well clear of David Hill.
These lap cars are playing a factor all throughout the field now because of how few cars we have on the lead lap. Typically, you'd think we'd have a lot of lead lap cars. I mean, it's a 1.5 mile track. You got a lot of space to fan out, but over half the field is a lap down, and coming down to the end of this race, it's only going to be 11 actually on the lead lap here at the checkered flag. This is what happens when you get a big 100-plus lap green flag run. Everybody's got the chance to spread out, and everybody's been able to spread out, and that's how you've gotten these big gaps all through the field. And now we're going to get 12 on the lead lap because Johnny Rapp just unlapped himself.
52 after taking those fresh tires. He's got a whole lot of pace there, but not enough to really make too big of a difference as he still has 6 seconds now to Max Cost in 11th. Levi Cox comes around one more time to bring us to 2 to go. He's got a commanding 5-second lead. Jacob Bradley about 1.5 seconds away from Justin Wilson now. Only 9 lead changes this race. Just the one caution that you had mentioned, Sky. What a way to end the Pocket Crew Chief Winter Series.
It's been a great season, and it's all going to come down here to these last 2 laps. Levi Cox has been dominant today, especially over the second half of the race. He's done everything he's needed to, and as he comes around here, he'll take the white flag only one more time for the 54.
Out of turn number 2 goes the 54 machine. 2 more to do it and take home the last chance to win this season. Into 3, high up on the track he goes. Now into 4. Across the front stretch, checkered flag in the air. Levi Cox is your winner at Atlanta, but all eyes are on the 50 of Jacob Bradley taking home our points champion. Wow, what a season. What a late run here for the 50 machine to do exactly what he needed to do to be a champion here.
It's been a great run from start to finish for Jacob Bradley, but he turned it on in the end, won 3 of the last 5 races, really vaulted himself up the point standings when he needed to the most, and that's going to let him take home the trophy here tonight.
A 3rd place finish is nothing to scoff at by any means. You know, he ran quite a bit of this race up here in the lead. 65 laps in total for the 50 machine. Levi Cox with 36 himself. We'll see Cox get a little celebration here towards the end of pit road. Looks like the 50 of Bradley back there right at the start-finish line. 2 drivers well deserving of wins here this season. There goes the 54 with that burnout. Kind of setting up for a Polish lap. We'll see if he'll do just that, or if he'll collect it all back together here with the 50 of Bradley right at that start-finish line. Man, that's one of the better burnouts that we've seen this season coming out of the 54.
And a couple really good ones. Bradley's doing one good one, too. There you go. You got 2 good burnouts. 2 for the price of 1.
Well, Sky, what do you say we send it to our last commercial break of the season, come back, go over our post-race results, get our post-race show in, and ultimately talk to our winner here, our 2nd place finisher, and our 3rd place finisher, and overall points champion. Stick around. We'll be right back for all of that action.
Hey partner, I'm Barry, your pocket crew chief, the very first AI-powered mechanic for sim racing. Got a car that's a little loose or tight? Just tell me how it's handling, and I'll whip up instant setup recommendations just for you. Want me to get even more precise? Snap a picture of your setup, and I'll fine-tune it to perfection. And hey, I'm not just about giving orders. I'll explain why every adjustment matters, so you can really understand your ride. I'll even teach you the science behind the setup. Ever wonder why the track bar is so important? I've got the answer. With Pocket Crew Chief, I'll make you smarter, faster, and race ready. So what are we waiting for? Let's build to win.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
In endurance racing, strategy makes the difference between victory and defeat. Introducing Overcut, the all-in-one platform that brings your team together. Manage your teams for iRacing events with seamless Discord integration, stint planning, and real-time intelligent race strategies. Overcut, built by racers for racers.
And we're back live for our post-race coverage here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. The Pocket Crew Chief Winter Series has come to a close. Jacob Bradley taking home our points champion. But overall, Levi Cox wins the last race of the season. Going to be followed up by the 58 of Justin Wilson. Our points champion takes home the third spot on the night, followed up by Dylan LeBeau in the 26 and fourth. Ryan Jones makes his way back up to a top 5 position in the 91. Scotty Zobzig will take the 81 to 6th place. James Danforth in the 88 takes home 7th on the night, followed up by the 9 of Peter Stewart in 8th. Braxton DeWeese had a shot at taking home a win here tonight. Black flag there, running out of fuel rather, for the 15. Took away those chances, takes home 9th. Chris French will round out your top 10 in the 53 machine.
Coming through the rest of the field tonight, 11th place is going to be Max Koss in the 63, Johnny Rapp in the 52, in 12th. Brian Brobst will finish 13th in the 11, Chris Smith 14th in the 28, Jake Mackey 15th in the 13, Robert Brote 16 in the 5. Last car one lap down was Laurel Wiseman 17th in the 84, with Steve Vaz 18th in the 60, Ryan Phillips 19th in the 27, and last car in the top 20 tonight is going to be David Hill in the 43 and 20th.
Ellis Thomas will take home the 21st position, followed up by the 80 of Rob Liedl. Cam Gillens in the 07 will take a 23rd finishing position. The 42 of Paul Thomas takes 24th. That's a little bit of a tongue twister there. The 55 of Evan Pienta finishing 25th, followed up by Zachary Mitchell in 26th. Nathan Gentry in the 4 machine will take 27th. Last but not least, the 39 of Sean Mulholland in our 28-car field here tonight. Well, Sky, let's get right into it. We've got interviews ready to go. We're going to start out with our race winner here, Levi Cox. Levi, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, a fantastic race there for you at the end of it. You led 36 laps, most of them coming in the back half of the race. What was the change in strategy from the first stint to what we saw at the end?
It was just saving that right front. That I don't know who does the setup, and no offense to them, but that may have been the worst Atlanta setup I've ever driven. It was just chewing through that right front. So it was really who could run the slowest and make it last the longest.
Well, old Atlanta is notorious for taking away that right front tire rather quickly, but you all handled it very, very well. And obviously, coming home with the win here tonight, it played out in your favor. You were the one that was able to run it the slowest and the most consistently to take home the #1 spot. Levi, is there anything differently that you could have looked back on this race that maybe allowed you to get to where you are here, and any moments that you'd like to recap on the season as a whole?
No, just a fun overall season. First season with these guys. Had a few victories here in the Xfinity and one in the street stocks. Missed out on the late models, but finished top 3 in all 3 series, and that was kind of my goal about midway through. So that was great. I guess the one thing that really cost me here is just didn't know that Jacob had missed the Dega race, and kind of was in the mindset of I need to go out and lead all the laps and get all the bonus points I could. But looking back, if I'd have played that a little more conservative, it would have been a little bit closer there. And then just not knowing that Braxton was coming to pit road there at Charlotte, those two right there, I think cost me a shot at it. So, but it's a great league and fun, and I enjoyed it. So
Well, Levi, not to put a damper on anything, but you did gain 1 spot here. You put yourself in 3rd on the point standing, so a bronze medal at the very least for you. Is there anybody you'd like to say thanks to for your season, and most importantly, your win here in the last race?
yeah, definitely thank you to Spark Racing League and all admins for putting this on. They do a great job and have fun, but definitely dish out some penalties where necessary. So I like that about them, and guys for putting on the broadcast. And then Pocket Crew Chief, Brobst Enterprises, #1 Hero Cards, Overcut Sim Planner, Goon Squad, Evan Pienta Designs, and RB Designs for sponsoring the league. And then my car sponsor, Cody Glenn Cox Music on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. Go check him out, give him a like, a listen, and tell him that you've seen him here.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations, Levi. A little bit of statistics for you. 3 wins on the season, 5 top 5s, 7 top 10s out of our 10 races. You set the pole once throughout the series. Man, what a fantastic job. Can't wait to see you next season. Levi, have a great night, buddy. Congratulations.
Thank you guys. Y'all as well.
We'll move right on along to our 2nd place finisher, Justin Wilson, who we have Sky Shrek standing by with now.
Hey, Justin, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, big money.
Congrats on P2 tonight. You were close to getting that win. Do you think there was anything more you could have done to get yourself up there?
No, I didn't have anything for them to, Levi or Jacob. I kind of knew that from the beginning of the race. I was trying to save and save and save, and this car was just my car was really tight. I couldn't keep that right front under me. So I had a top 3 car, I felt like, or maybe top 4 at the best. So there, I was just that last run. I just kept thinking to myself, you know what? Am I okay with just riding in 3rd? No, let's try something, right? So I pitted really early on that last one, about 30 to go. I was hoping I could just get a big enough lead to where when they got their fresh tires, they would kind of just catch up to me. It did work. I leapfrogged from 3rd to 2nd, so I guess that's a win.
Yeah, tell me about the tire wear tonight, because we're looking and the track temp was upwards of like 120 degrees for a lot of this race. It must have been difficult to keep the tires on it.
Yeah, it really was. I know my right front when we pitted, it had like 25% wear left on it. So we were cooking them. I was cooking the left rear because there at the end of the runs, I was starting to get a little loose off of 4. Yeah, it was definitely tough. It was definitely, you had to save at the beginning and the middle parts of the run, so you had the speed at the end. But that was pretty difficult to do, just considering how tight the car was.
All right, well, anyone you want to thank or shout out tonight?
Well, I want to thank all 17 of y'all up here in the booth for putting the show on. Levi for winning the race, Jacob for winning the championship. We talked to teammates Johnny, Dylan LeBeau's been running with us, Ryan Jones. Almost had a good race, had kind of a little squirrely there at the end, but all in all, good run. Thanks Spark and all the sponsors affiliated with it, and maybe run next season. May see y'all next season.
All right. Well, congrats on P2 tonight, Justin Wilson. While we were talking to him, Logan has caught back up with your champion, Jacob Bradley.
We've got Jacob Bradley down here in the winner's circle. He's got, a third place finish here tonight, but overall takes home the points championship. Jacob Bradley, you've had a fantastic season, and you made it count where it mattered most. Your run late in the season to put yourself in this position, it's been incredible to watch. Is there anything that you can really just say? Maybe, obviously looking to take home a win here tonight just to cap things off, but the floor is yours, buddy. Have at it.
Yeah, it's been a great season. I wasn't too excited looking at the second half of the schedule, but it definitely played right into my hand most of these weeks, and I thought it was going to have to come in the beginning of the season, and we had some decent runs there, but kind of let it slip from our grasp, and ultimately I thought we had a shot at 4 with how this race went early, but I guess I can't sign Evan Pienta's forehead. We made a deal if I had won 4 or won the races I entered after the halfway point that I get to sign his forehead for a day of class. But I guess we can't do that. But it's been a great season. Had a blast tonight. It's pretty fun.
Was there anything that you could look back on here tonight at Atlanta that maybe would have changed? I know you had that incident there with Rob Liedl. It kind of, did it make you gun shy at all? I was questioning that whenever that happened.
I mean, anytime that happens, you're probably going to be a little bit gun shy, but no, I kind of went right back to it. I ran some really fast laps after that, started to make some headway to get some space between me and Chris Smith. And ultimately, I was just going to try and run long anyways and see if a caution would come because the tires were just so important. I think it was made clear at the end with how much I was able to, pull and catch up to Justin almost. But I thought it was over for a second. I was about 50 degrees sideways, staring at the inside wall, full lock right. But we drove out of it.
Yeah, that was wild to watch from up here in the booth, but you recovered it well and ultimately drove right back up here to the front of the field, taking home third place on the night. Most importantly, that points championship on the season. Jacob Bradley, anybody that you'd like to say thanks to for your race here tonight and just overall all season long?
Yeah, I want to thank all the Spark admins. Johnny pulled me out of a quote unquote retirement that we may be going back into because I love the Xfinity car. He told me we were going to switch to it and immediately knew I had to run in it. Robert and Randy for doing a lot of the other admin work. Nathan, who's stepping away. All of that have helped immensely in running Spark in the past few seasons. I thank you guys for putting on the broadcast this season. Been doing a great job with all of that. I always love to watch them back. And I just want to thank all of my teammates. I've raced with Payday. I've raced with F. Scott this season. They've all been really fun to race with, and everybody back home watching.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations, buddy. Go celebrate, and we'll see you next season, hopefully, in the Truck Series.
Thank you.
3 wins on the season, 6 top 5s for that 50 machine, 8 top 10s, and 3 poles set on the season. That is the stats of your champion here tonight. Sky Shrek, is there anything, just looking back on this season, that you really want to try to recapture here before we end things off?
It's been a really great season, just kind of all throughout. I mean, we've had such great racing tonight, a lot of strategy played into it. It's been a great mix of everything. Atlanta always does a good job at deciding titles, and with the track temp tonight and the setups, I don't think it was any different. It was a really challenging race for these drivers.
It absolutely was, and we saw the class of the field make their way up to the front. They stayed up there all night long. Unfortunate circumstances for the 15 of Braxton DeWeese set him back in the pack, but still tried his best to make it all the way back up towards the front. So a valiant effort coming from the DeWeese number 15 Interstate Ford. Overall, just a fantastic season to watch from up here in the booth. I'm glad that we've been a part of it here at V-Speed. And just keep in mind, You know, we do this daily. We're gonna have a little bit of a break here from Spark Racing, but ultimately we've got a whole lot more racing going on all over the place. So if you like tonight's broadcast, give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you never miss another race. For everybody behind the scenes at Spark, got Johnny Rapp, all the other admins there working their tails off to make this thing happen week after week. Everybody behind the scenes at V-Speed. We've got Eddie Smith up here in the booth for our championship coverage, making sure that all the cameras and stuff are working good. Sky Shrek, of course, being here to kick things off for me tonight while I was hiding from some tornadoes. Luckily got clear of that and right back to it. But we thank you all for tuning in for the last 10 races, and we will see you next time. Good night, everybody.